Sheriff's Department, and she's responsible for all crime prevention measures throughout the North unincorporated area of the county. She also works with the VIPS Sheriff Volunteers and the high impact deputies at the Marconi Station House. So please help me welcome Sherrie Carhart.
Well, it's nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me. Appreciate that very much. My name's Sherrie Carhart. I'm a crime prevention specialist with the Sheriff's Department. I've been an employee of the Sheriff's Department for about 22 years. So, and I know a lot of you out in the room, which is nice. It's nice to see a lot of familiar faces here today. So thank you all for coming out. This is a great lunch, and I'm enjoying it very much too. Hope all of you are. This morning, I was sleeping in a little bit because I worked long hours yesterday. And my husband said to me in bed, he said, you know, you need to be a little more, you know, happy. Don't be so stressed, you know. Live life a little more gently, you know. Don't be so worried about things. You know, take it easy, you know, all those kinds of things. And if you, some of you might know, my husband's a retired guy, you know, which is a wonderful thing to be retired. But then people remind me again in the community, you know, being retired isn't all it's cracked up to be. You have more things going on when you're retired than you ever can possibly imagine. Is that right, Max Hartley? So it's nice to see all of you guys out here, some familiar faces for sure. So I thought, well, you know, I'm going to have to try and do that. I'll have to try to change my thought patterns to be a little more easy, free going. So I'm sitting in my car, I'm driving to work, and I look over at the, and I'm at the stoplight, and there's a lady next to me, and she's dressed up as like a cheetah or something, you know? And I thought, wouldn't that be wonderful? How many of us that ever go to work dressed up as a cheetah? You know, fun and exciting, and you know, I think my husband would like if I came home as a cheetah. But anyways, you know, one of the things that's not worrisome to me about at work is that being a county employee, I don't worry about my work or my business. Because when I get there, you know, I drive through a locked secured gate, I scan a card to get in. It's got lighting and fencing. At the front, where the public has access to it, there's a security officer. There's a little lock gate where people walk through to make sure it's secure. He's also there to handle any problems that erupt at the counter. Then we have silent alarms as well as audible alarm systems. And when you work for the Sheriff's Department responds pretty quickly if there's a problem at your building. You got to think of those pluses. So I don't worry too much about things happening at my work. But when you think about all the private businesses out there, there's a lot of problems in the community, as there always has been and probably will continue to be so. So my main function, or one of the things that I do in my job, is crime prevention. And so you're saying, well, you know, crime prevention, yeah, we've heard about crime prevention before, but you think about it, you do really do it in your daily lives. Every day you leave your house, you know, you hopefully make sure your windows and doors are locked and secure when you leave. You put your seatbelt on when you drive in the car, prevent accidents. You make sure you have insurance. You have storage units. Where's the young man from Armor Storage, you know? You've got everything locked up and secure when you have storage units. You know, you worry about hospitalization. You have hospitalization insurance. You have death insurance. You have all kinds of insurance and preventative measures. But one of the things you don't think about as often as you should be is how to secure your businesses and your homes as best as you can. My end is not the detective. What happened? How did I find out? Where's my report? Where's my missing things? Did the guy get arrested? That's not my end. My end is trying to keep you from being the victim. So that's what I'd like to talk to you about today. So I'm going to go on for about 20 minutes, and then I'll answer questions or things. I want to let you know at the back room, can you all hear me? Yeah. At the back room, there's several things. There's this one. It's the North Division's Community Information Public Directory. Inside, you'll find where we have community meetings for the Sheriff's Department. Community meeting schedule inside this little box here. The Fair Oaks community meeting is going to be canceled for the month of November, I have to tell you. So if you're a Fair Oaks resident or business owner, that meeting is going to be canceled. But the rest of the ones here are good. So if you're going to attend the Carmichael meeting, here it is down here on November 15th. And it's going to be at Del Campo High School. So please come over and attend. Why should you go? Who's going to be there? What's it in for me? Well, at that meeting, they're going to have the prom morning policing, we don't have those anymore, high impact deputies. And high impact deputies handle ongoing, continuing problems in your neighborhood, kind of like prom morning policing deputies, but they handle more narcotics and warrant sweeps and things. but they can talk to you and help you with problems and concerns that you have at your businesses and in your residences. So please go. That's what they're there for, to help you with your concerns. There's another flyer over there on Business Watch. I'm going to talk a little bit about Business Watch, and there's also another one on Neighborhood Watch. So if you're interested in that, we have a meeting coming up next month. I just had the last one for Neighborhood Watch last night, and I had 6 new groups that showed up for North County. So what's Business Watch? What's that about? How can it help you? Do you have businesses that are nearby your business that also are like in a small little business park, something of that nature? Or you have a little network of businesses, or do you have a standalone business? How many of you have a business that sits all by itself and there's no other businesses around it? Anybody like that? I don't see a lot of hands, a few hands. So you're kind of on your own. You don't have a lot of people watching and looking out for you. But if you are in a small little community or you have other businesses next to you, then the Business Watch might be something that you might be looking at. What essentially you need to do is you need to decide that you want to form a business to watch and work together. And the Sheriff's Department will help you. I'll come out and I'll do a little security assessments at your business and try to determine if there's things that would make your business a safer place. Because there's certainly a lot of crime and concerns around here. Business Watches, you get together, you share information, and you talk about other concerns and issues. And then you network with other businesses in the area to find out what are the things that are happening. Sheriff's Department will put you on a list and will email information to you that's helpful. Like for example, there's a concern that's happened in the last week in the Arden area. Laundromats, apartment complexes that have laundromats. There's a bad guy that's running around, or a pair of bad guys that are taking the tops of washing machines off and going in there and vandalizing machines and taking the coinage out. Very expensive to businesses, and we've had, I don't know, probably 8 of those in the last 5 days. So that's something in the Arden area that's just happening. So things like that, we'd like to put that information out to business groups. So you have that information, you're aware of it, you can be alert and be watchful. Or, for example, in residential burglary, just this morning, a burglary sergeant told me about the recovery of all of this woman's property that was taken from a residential home in a burglary, where they got everything back and they gave it back to the victim. She's part of the neighborhood. She's part of one of those neighborhood watch groups that gets those emails on a regular basis from Neighborhood Watch Hub that talk about crime and safety in the community. And she said to the detective, she says, "Those people are kind of militant, you know." I thought that was kind of funny, but we were able to get the things back for her, and we're glad of that. There's a lot of burglaries that happen out in the area. When I ran Carmichael, I was asked if I could run and look at vandalism specifically for the Carmichael area businesses. So I hooked up businesses, and you'd be surprised, you know. I don't know, if you go on the website and take a look, there is some stuff out there that's concerning. When you talk about everything from business vehicles, let's talk about just vehicles, business vehicles. Within the last 6 months or so, a post office had like 23 single tires slashed at a post office. Just one tire on the postal vehicles. These were federal postal vehicles. You know, their businesses have vehicles where they siphon the gas out, they harm, they take what are those little things underneath the converters? Yes, thank you. They take those off of vehicles as well, businesses as well as residential, just for vehicles alone. They part out some of these vehicles. It's easy to do that at night when your businesses have vehicles that are accessible. They're not behind fences. When it comes to business windows and entries, there's a number of ways, of course, you know how to break a window. I mean, and you know, whether you're drunk at 3 o'clock in the morning with a baseball bat, randomly going around burglarizing businesses and smashing the windows, or you're throwing a rock through that you found that was handy or something. There's a lot of vandalism that happens through windows. And then they smash through glass doors, they come in, and they take property inside of businesses. And there's a lot of businesses that get hit in the Carmichael, Fair Oaks, Arden area between like 3 and 5 a.m. in the morning. We have a lot of series of that type of crime occurring. Very, very concerning. Mostly businesses rely on alarm systems and camera systems, but what can you do at 3 to 5 in the morning? I mean, what else is there going on? So if we have information that's occurring, we'd like to share it with you. We'd like you to work with us so we can get the information out to you, so you'll know about series that are occurring in the area. The media doesn't put that information out. I mean, there's so much crime that the media only puts out the most violent and most exciting crime that's out there. So that's available for you. So we like to put more information for you out there. Also, one of the things that I've put out there is a series of things. Lighting, and that's pretty important. and there's a whole discussion on lighting, and it's double paged, so you'll have lots of good reading here. But the benefits of lighting are really good, and there's a lot of things that you can do to help increase security in a parking lot, but lighting alone doesn't do it. You have to do a layer of deterrence, a lot of different things. So lighting is just one example of the information back that you can read. Windows. Didn't we just talk about windows? You know, there are things that you can do to add to make your windows more protective. So you can layer a layer of film, like 3mm film, or you can even change out your windows. Do other things to make them more preventative from being broken. Also, the windows that you might have in your business might be you know, older. You might want to consider updating your windows, things of that nature. Or prevent people from being able to see in some windows in your business. So there's a whole thing on windows as well. Doors. And then there's more information on problem watching, business solving there for that. I could talk about safes, I could talk about camera systems, and I could talk about alarm systems. There's so much to cover, but you know, I only killed 4 trees for bringing all the information over here. So we have alarm people that are part of your chamber. We probably have camera system people that are part of your chamber, and I'm sure you know we have all kinds of experts around the room. And we also have a SMUD expert over here who's running for honorary mayor, who's got a lot of knowledge and insight. He can tell you about things as well. You know, and we have an ex-state employee over here from California Highway Patrol. He's very knowledgeable too. There's a lot of great experts, a lot of future speakers in the room too. So a lot of good detail there. So when you're talking about what can you do, how can you fix things, what can you do the best way? And my own absolute answers are you're going to need to work with yourselves, with your business partners, with your neighbors, and with the Sheriff's Department, gathering information and doing all the things that you can do. So individually, if I were to come out to your business, I can look it over. It doesn't cost anything, just some time from you, and talk to you about the issues and concerns you have. Whether it's personal safety in your business, whether you've had a robbery at your business, vandalisms, whether you're fearful about people breaking into your business. There's a lot of issues out there, obviously. So each one is different for each business, so I can't really cover too many of them. So I want to answer a couple questions. I've only been talking for a few minutes, but I want to answer a couple questions that someone might have. Yes,
Sherrie,
ma'am.
how do we deal, we hear the stories about people stealing the copper out of the air conditioners off the roofs. I mean, we can't really protect that. What can we do to
Copper
stop
theft,
that?
copper thefts off of roofs is what she was asking about, air conditioning units and systems. Copper is huge. It was even on the news, I think, last night about street lights and things that they're taking continuously. Copper roofs, copper air conditioner systems on the side. A lot of people put cages around them. Then they lock the cage, or they secure it, or they weld the cage shut. Well, I've recently spoken to a man that came in, and he was from, I'm not sure, Arden area or not, but he had a $15,000 loss, and this was his second $15,000 loss involving his air conditioner system. And so he had contracted with a company to put an alarm system and a security camera that would let him know when somebody had tampered with it. You can simply put some sort of security device on there, so if it's been tampered with, something, not just like a cat jumping out, but I mean seriously tampering with, an alarm goes off, and alarm notification, we contact the Sheriff's Department, we would respond. But, you know, damage is going to incur, so you have to be as cautious as you can about that sort of thing. We had a lot of problem with the water district was losing a lot of things quite a while back, and the fire department was also losing those big giant metal pipes, huge fittings. You know, this person, when they cut them, they were getting soaked. You know, these burglars were just determined they were going to take anything and everything. So, you know, air conditioning theft, copper theft. You know, we have, the Sheriff's Department, several years back, we tried to put through a law that required people to do the thumbprint and the identification. But right now, they're not requiring the thumbprint, I don't believe. I think it's just the identification. And pretty much anybody can turn in copper. And then on last night, I heard it was in San Francisco, a bell from the 1880s or something that was stolen from a church. And that's just it makes you cry, you know, it's horrible. All sorts of bad guys out there. And they don't care. They don't care who they victimize. They're just interested in stealing. And so, and they do say it's a few percentage, a few of the criminals are out there, but they're doing a huge majority of the crimes. So when it comes down to being watchful and alert and calling, that's the most important thing you can do, is report suspicious activity. Just like if you were to drive by your business and we saw your 4-door Toyota silver Camry sitting outside of your business, and it's 4 o'clock in the morning. The sheriff's patrol deputies don't necessarily know that's your Toyota four-door Camry or it's a bad guy's. Maybe somebody else knows. Maybe you have a camera system or other devices, or you have neighbors that are around, business neighbors. They can call and let us know that it's suspicious, occupied, and shouldn't be there. We don't know. You know, and your business neighbors know. That's why we want you to call and work with us and report that type of behavior as soon as you can. The number for the Sheriff's Department, again, is on the front of this little booklet that's over there. We have the emergency and non-emergency numbers. The longer you wait, the less likely it's going to take for a deputy to get out there. Yes, sir.
Just to follow up on that copper question, we have a problem here. We have a major copper theft. Probably $300 worth of copper costs us $40,000. And air conditioning equipment and this insurance is not always your best remedy because they have all sorts of vandalism provisions about copper theft, vacancies over 60 days. Can't prove exactly what happened. Insurance companies aren't easy to begin with, but in that area they're very tough now. Is the Sheriff's Department doing anything about the copper theft? It's an epidemic all over the county.
The Sheriff's Department's aware of the copper theft, but we don't have detectives specifically assigned to copper theft. We did it one time when we had more detectives. We have 6 detectives that handle, with 1 sergeant, all of the burglaries that are commercial, residential, assaults, and vandalism in Sacramento County. We have 6.
I know that the county has budget problems, but we hear that a lot about problems and why we can't. But is it much more cost effective? I guess maybe I can talk about it. Much more cost effective prevention and more physical presence of patrolling of sheriffs. I mean, that's really.
Well, I can tell you that the most cost-effective method is to prevent, because once you have the loss, you know, the insurance company, you have to have the timeout, you have to fix it, you have to repair it. Your business is down. You've got employees managing or handling it. You have to do it. There's just with anything at all, when crime occurs, you're the victim, and you have to finish up and follow up and manage it all. And the Sheriff's Department, we show up, we take the report, we look for latent fingerprints, and if there's no evidence or fingerprint follow-up, there's not a lot of that we're going to be able to do. There's not a lot that we're able to do. Now, patrol officers, sometimes patrolling does help. If there's a presence of patrol and the bad guys know that patrol officers have gone by, they stand in the dark, they don't move, they're in the shadows, they're camouflaged by darkness, and they wait for patrol to leave. Once patrol's gone, they're free. They have another 30 minutes to continue about their business of stealing. So patrols do help to some degree, but also we don't have enough officers overall, I think, to do specific things like be wary of the air conditioner appliance and thefts. I mean, we certainly do. We do. When we have a large dollar amount like that, we send a patrol officer out to take the report in person. And sometimes we're taking them over the telephone or on the computer. And so I'm sorry that we're doing that at times. But it's a very sad situation out there. We need to protect ourselves, and we need to do everything we can to make sure that our air conditioner systems aren't compromised and that people don't have access to our roofs. If it's up on your roof, think about what is it that I can do to secure it so people can't climb up there? What is it that I can do to protect it while it's up on top of the roof? And so if it's something like putting a cage and welding it shut, that really will probably keep a lot of them away. Just welding a cage shut, that's a really good idea right there, right in front, making sure you have a cage for it. A lot of homeowners say, why would I need to cage my air conditioning unit or heating unit? But you should. You really should think about doing that. It is a simple fix, maybe $400, $500 for a huge problem that could cost you a lot of money. So the criminals are out there. They are determined to take what you have, and they have the will, they have the ability, they have the desire. So a lot of the ones that we catch are criminals, have criminal histories. So, but there's a number of them that we don't catch. Yes, ma'am.
On the prevention side, we have Neighborhood Watch, right? I don't know about Carmichael and Neighborhood Watch. Do you keep a list of all the Neighborhood Watch associations within the counties that you serve so that new people moving in or whatever have access to either join or be a part of that?
There are over 750 active neighborhood watches north of the American River in Sacramento County right now that I and several volunteers manage a list of them that are active and working.
Cool.
We ask that they continue to meet. We ask that they work together with each other. They share email information. We ask that they notify law enforcement and call immediately when they see crime in progress or things that are suspicious. The neighborhood watch information is it's protected, and we don't reveal specific neighborhood watch groups. If you were to move into a neighborhood and you were looking for, is there a neighborhood watch on my street? There's a sign there. And I can pull up some information and find out if you have an active neighborhood watch on your street. But if you don't, you're going to need to start one on your own. You really are, just like a business watch. There's only so many houses that you can encompass in a business watch. How many houses can you actually see down the street from your house? When you look on both sides, if you can see 15 houses both directions and across the street, that's pretty darn good. That's pretty much what we would consider a residential business watch. As far as a business watch, that's the same thing. As a small business park, you might have 2 people that are co-coordinating a business watch and they're working together to share information. So we definitely want you to work together because that's your best avenue, your best asset is you. I mean, your business, your home, your livelihood. People crime is the most important to the Sheriff's Department. We want to prevent people crime, robberies, assaults, harm to individuals. Property is our secondary concern. Yes, sir.
I think you're right, 750 neighborhood watches?
750 neighborhood watch groups that I know of.
Okay, I just want to make sure I have that number right. That's a lot of people trying to coordinate, but,
Those are just the leaders.
well, what I'm wondering is there any way that as the county, you can help coordinate some of the information that's reported there? Because what I find when I'm looking for resources as to active crimes or crimes in progress, things happening, especially even going to the websites through Sacramento Sheriff's Department's resources. I believe you guys are posting stuff through Sacramento Beat sometimes as far as crime stats. But it seems like there's a big delay from when something actually happens to when it's public knowledge.
The Sheriff's Department has a website where you can go on to, it's on the front here, www.sacsheriff.com, and you scroll down and it's got Sheriff's Crime Mapping. Crime Mapping is 5 to 7 days behind the actual report.
Right.
But the problem is with our crime mapping system, just like any crime mapping system throughout the county, you have a crime occur, you don't report the crime, we don't know about it, it's not on the crime map. So I could do a show of hands around the room. How many of you had a vehicle break-in? Your deductible was $500 and you didn't report it. I bet you 75% of the hands would go up in the room about not reporting it. That's the problem. It's really important to report crime. You owe it to your neighbors too. I mean, your neighbors want to know if they're living in a safe neighborhood. They want to know what's occurring in the neighborhood, and everyone wants to know about problems and concerns. And the fact is, property crime is drastically underreported. Drastically. So when you have a home burglary, you're going to report that, right? Your insurance will cover that. Even not, you're very concerned about the fact that you had a home burglary and somebody was in your house. So the most reliable statistics as far as property crime is going to be home residential burglary or business burglaries. So when you look at those numbers and you compare them from last year to this year, it's interesting to see, at least crime analysis people, it's interesting to see what are the rates. So what I would do is I would go to the crime mapping section for Carmichael. You can click in zip code, you can click in your address, you can click in your neighborhood, park, or school. And you can go back 90 days or 30 days, and you can click in all different types of crime, whichever one you're interested in. I'd print a map, and I'd hold on to it. And then I would go back in 6 months and print another map or a statistic and see, is your crime going up or down? Is it cyclic? Is it just in the summer? And go back and take a look. Because you can see for certain areas like North Highlands and Antelope, their crime between 08 and 09 was pretty stagnant, didn't change that much. And other communities have changed drastically. So, you know, it's important to know where crime is and how things are moving in your neighborhood and how things are. And there's a lot of information that's not on the website, like the gentleman was saying. There's a lot of information that's not available. If you really want to talk to a gang detective and find out what's going on in your neighborhood, come to one of the sheriff's community meetings. If you want to find out about home burglaries, there's robberies, assaults are going up. What about methamphetamine use and types of drugs and things that are happening? You know, are you making a lot of drug arrests or sweeps? Come to one of our sheriff's community meetings. The high impact officers are there to talk specifically about your community and what type of activity is going on. They're the ones that have the, you know, right there. They're, what's the word I want to put? They have the nose to the pavement. That's not the right word I want to
Finger on the pulse.
Finger on the pulse. There you go. They really know what's going on. They definitely do. Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to ask you about gated communities. Do you think they are effective keeping crime rates down?
I can't understand what you said.
Gated communities.
Gated communities.
Do they keep the crime rate down if you're in a gated community?
Gated communities make you feel safer if you live in a gated community. Gated communities are not safer than other gated communities or non-gated communities, in my opinion. Gated communities can have just as many burglaries and vehicle thefts, vehicle burglaries, as other gated communities. Generally, it's not hard to follow a car through or walk through a pedestrian access that's locked open or left open, or when the gates fail. People come in very easily, or they hop the fence. People can come in, they park their car, and they can burglarize just as easily in a gated as non-gated community. Gated communities, actually, you feel like you're more secure, but actually I don't think that you truly are more secure. I think that you're just as vulnerable as anyone else. And the fact, if you live in a gated community, the people that surround the gated community in the residential areas, they think differently of you when you live in a gated community. They talk about you differently too. And it's not that they're saying that's a bad thing or that's a good thing. They're just saying, oh, that's that gated community over there, or oh, that's those people over there. You know, they segregate them that way. But I would truly say that I don't believe that gated communities are safer than non-gated communities. Yes, ma'am.
What would you recommend the best course of action? I'm Karen Pulte. I'm with American River Community Church. I have a residential question. What would you recommend is the best course of action if one of your neighbors has a quote-unquote legal marijuana grow operation that draws undesirable people to your neighborhood?
That's a growing concern. Legal marijuana. It's a growing concern for all of you out there. Yes, it is. It's a growing concern. I know it's a pun on words, absolutely. It is very much a growing concern. We have more concern about that than you honestly recognize or know. You'll hear about some of those questions in the paper. There was one recently that made the news. Was that Del Paso Heights, where there was a grow and the grandmother and this young teen grandson shot a thief that had entered into their backyard to steal plants, and they shot the thief in the back. And everybody thought, wow, that's an interesting story. I wonder what's going to happen. Oh, they got their due. Well, they're being charged now with homicide. So, for that type of thing. We have a lot of grows that happen all over the county. People call and they say, you know, I think something's happening over there at that house. We see a lot of traffic coming and going from that house. We think that there's marijuana. I've looked over the fence and they have marijuana, or they've erected some sort of greenhouse in the backyard, or I believe that they're growing marijuana in both downstairs and upstairs in their house. There's a lot of traffic coming and going. I would say that the best thing to do would be to contact the Sheriff's Department at the service center here, inside number here, right here, front left page, North Division, 876-5700, and talk to the high impact officer that's in your area and find out if in fact it's a legitimate grow. They can take a look at it and determine by going out and talking with those folks. A lot of these people are legitimate. Like you say, they are legitimate. The problem is people will come in and they will want to steal their crop. They want to steal the money that they believe that they have in there. They will believe that there's money to be made there. And that's a very scary concern. I mean, if you have that happening in your neighborhood, and I've talked to plenty of people in Carmichael and in Fair Oaks and in Arden and in North Highlands and in Rio Linda and everywhere else I work, where they have next door to them one of those things. And it's a very big concern. There's traffic coming and going. They think that some of the vehicle burglaries or the stolen vehicles or the home burglaries are attributed to it. It may or may not be. It's very difficult to determine. The Sheriff's Department can go in there and determine if they have a right to have the marijuana grow there, and if so, we're going to leave it there. But we also would like to have reports of type of illegal or suspicious activity that's concerning and that's continuing. The Board of Supervisors hopefully will make a ruling coming up. You don't know when that will be, Howard?
I think it's the end of the year, possibly.
So towards the end of the year, the Board of Supervisors for Sacramento County will make a ruling about marijuana and its industry, cultivation, and growing, and all of those things. Sacramento City Police Department and the City Police Department's kind of put some of their things on hold recently. I also understand too about rulings, and the state is just, you know, hasn't really come to any conclusions about that. So it's definitely a very big concern. If you see traffic coming and going from a house that only stays for a couple minutes and they leave again, and you see a lot of traffic, whether it's late night, it's on Mother's Day, once a month, at the beginning of the month or the 15th, please let us know, because we want to be aware of that and send a patrol out to it. Patrol is different than the high impact unit. Patrol officers come out, they respond to a one-time incident and they leave. Patrol officer might come out and take your home burglary. Patrol officer might come out and take an assault because your neighbor hit you in the nose. Okay? Some type of one-time of incident. High impact officers work with ongoing, continuing types of problems, whether it's a vacant house that's been boarded up or transients that are living there. Whether it's the fact that we have warrant sweeps, we're going to go out and do that. We're going to go out and be targeting all of the prostitutes in a specific area. We're going to go out and hit a whole bunch of drug houses. Whatever it is that we're going to be doing, it's an ongoing, continuing problem. And if you have a drug house or a suspected drug house next door, that's something for high impact. Yes, ma'am.
I'm part of a neighborhood watch, and what we did was, either we contacted SMUD or PG&E, and they came out and did a lighting assessment of our property, and they gave us, recommendations on what we needed to do to bring up the lighting on our property, the type of lighting. It was our responsibility as a homeowners association to purchase the lights and have them installed. But it made a real big difference in the crime that was happening in my community.
That's terrific.
And you know, we were doing it in phases because it is expensive. But he came out 3 or 4 times. He came out, took pictures at dark. He took pictures at dusk. He took pictures at dawn, and presented everything to us that was on that board.
That's wonderful.
So, and that service was available to us at no charge as far as the assessment to be able to get that lighting problem assessed and then remedied.
So SMUD has a program like that. They also have a tree lighting program. SMUD will come out at no charge to you, and if you have a telephone pole in your yard, or near your yard, or in your neighbor's yard almost, like on the borderline, and they will install a very large light up there for you. It's a light that puts out that kind of gray, dull yellow light. It's very tall, and it's only about $11 or $12 a month for the fee to have the light on. You have to pay that. There's no charge for the fee or no charge for the installation. So that's one of the ways that you get additional light in your house or on your property. If SMUD provides that, the Sheriff's Department, I have also done that too. There's many apartment complex, business complex, home area that I've gone out in the evening and I've taken a little tour. I take the group of people that live there near me and we walk around and we look and we go, oh wow, look how close that person got to you. You didn't even know they were there. How dark is your area? There's a difference between landscape and security lighting. It's very huge. Please pick up that information on lighting over there. You'll learn a lot just by reading that.
One more question.
Yes, then we have to go.
Okay, I'm curious for somebody that isn't on the same spectrum, like in a house or a business. Like, what about I'm moving, and like, say, if you want to find like a lot of apartment complexes, obviously there's always going to be good people and bad people, but how, like, is there a way you can call or ask like what specific areas are higher in crime rate or drug busts or whatever?
Yes. This young lady is asking, she's thinking of moving to a new area. She wants to know, how do I find out if it's a good area to live or not? And it's simple enough that you can go on the sheriff's website and you can pull up that exact address. Let's say you're going to move to 123 Main Street. You want to know what kind of crime is around there. You can pull a quarter-mile map or a 1-mile map around that area and look at types of crime that there is occurring. You go back 30, 60, 90 days. Take a look at that. It's real important. You want to look first, number one, at the people crime. If there's a little red body laying there, that would be there was a homicide. All right. So you'd have to think, well, what was that? And then you could click on the little body, and it might tell you when it was, or give you some information about it. You could probably go back to the B and research and find out if there was a story there or not. If there's a little syringe laying there, you know, there's some narcotic arrests. If there's a little car driving around, you know, there's a vehicle break-in. If there was a little blue house, it was a home burglary. A little brown house is a business burglary. Those sorts of things. It tells you a little information. Those are very valuable. Absolutely. If I were going to move to a new neighborhood, I would not only look at the crime map, I would go to that location. I would go there on a Friday night, you know, 8, 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, walk around, drive around, take a look. What are the area stores like? What is the banking area like? What are the gas stations like? Is that a safe place that I want to live? And then I would go there like on a bright early Saturday morning, you know, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, look and see. Is there litter on the street? Does it look like a safe area? Then I would actually go and knock on the door and talk to some of the neighbors. Find out if there's a crazy person living next door to you. Okay? See if there's a normal person living next door to you. If they're, you know, a hardworking family. If there are people that are just barely hanging on. And find out what kind of neighborhood it is. It's all important to do that when you're moving. So it's real important, definitely. We have a lot of good resources in the room. Howard, do you come to all the Carmichael meetings? Most of them. Yes. Does everybody know Howard back here? Yeah. Howard represents your Board of Supervisor Susan Peters' office, and Howard gives you a lot of good information. So essentially, if the Sheriff's Department's not doing a very good job for you, or you feel frustrated, you can certainly email me. My name is Sherrie Carhart at sacsheriff.com. My email's in here. But also you can call Howard, and Howard will get on my tail and say, hey, what's going on here? Howard is kind of like my boss for Carmichael. sorry, what?
I think the phone number's in the brochure.
It's under Susan Peters, 874-5471. So, anyways, it was good to come out and talk with all of you. I'll be around for answers to questions for a little while afterwards. Make sure you pick up all the information over there, okay? Thanks so much.